Chaos is hosting our tournament this weekend and the rest of this month, so we're welcome to you back to the tables. You got your poker cards ready. Hopefully you've got a nice fresh pair of dice because we've got another great week 1 action between Spellzapp and Sketchymetal. These runners have decided this week, during the week of the Ocean, to run a draft party with Spellzapp picking the Thief after he wins the coin flip, and then Sketchymetal followed it up with a Fighter Red Mage. Spellzapp finished it off with a White Mage. So we've got our fairly standard party outside of, a potential Thief in the play or in a potential White Mage. We are looking at potentially a little bit less black magic to work with, as the Thief and the Red Mage will be the ones bringing it, but hopefully we're not life locked. Tonight, I'm joined in the booth by Darren. How you doing, man?
Doing really well. It's been a great tournament so far. We 37 matches a week, and we've got, I think by the end of today, we'll have 33 matches done. There's 4 matches tomorrow, so we've seen a lot of Final Fantasy Randomizer, a lot of really good racers, a lot of new racers out there, people showing what they've got, and this should be another one. You've got a relatively new player in Sketchymetal. I was talking to him earlier, and he had like 2 months, he said he's been playing, and Spellzapp, a lot of people know Spellzapp. He was top 4 in last year's tournament, so we're expecting big things out of Spellzapp, and Sketchymetal's going to come out and show what he can do.
I mean, already we're taking a look, and we got Life 2 learnable by that White Mage, nice and early. We also have Lightning 3 for Black Magic, so, nice clear spell, and also Life Security with Harm 4, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
These checks. These checks are very important with finding also the gold bracelet in our very favorite town, Corneria, and just a silver dagger. So not much for the means of early game weaponry, but let's see how we do this.
Yeah, and 15,000 for that gold bracelet really isn't too much, so that's not horrible to see. You don't see them much cheaper than that usually.
But we have an early bottle find. Our item is in Corneria, so mark that already off the list with the item shop, as we have Spellzapp immediately making the play toward Temple of Fiends, seeing if Garland's carrying anything. With this particular flag set, I know I'm looking for an early canoe or an early canal, because I just do not want to try and go to an early marsh cave. But, it really depends on what you're going to find from these early princess checks, the early king chest, and the early Bicky check. But looks like we have some deaths already. Spellzapp going down to a 2-man right off the bat with the Red Mage and the White Mage. Looks like those scums were hitting them pretty hard, so...
But he's using that early life right away, and brings his fighter right back, so really nice to get that life real early. It makes going up to Garland a whole lot safer.
Yeah, these creeps were swinging, but looks like he's through, and Sketchymetal makes a play to go straight for the big man himself. He's going straight after the knight, going in for the swings.
And it looks like he really didn't lose any. He probably gained some time there, and even if he doesn't go back, it's not going to hurt him, because Spellzapp just reset out of those chests, so they're perfectly even right now, except Spellzapp knows that he doesn't need those chests.
Looks like we got a fairly beefy Garland today, because it looks like he's taken a couple of rounds of both physical punishment, and I believe at least 1 Lightning 3, so... Unfortunately, Sketchymetal did not get a chance to save on his way up, so that's unfortunate, but getting both a key and a loot gives you some early checks in the Corneria treasury, so...
Yeah, it's always nice to get 6 checks right off the bat, walking out of the castle there. I think if I were Sketchy, I'd probably be looking at going to Provoca, get that key incentive item, get a couple levels, and then come back this way. And I mean, we know that he would lose a little bit of time with not having the key, but really you're not too far behind at all.
Looks like it was pretty healthy money seed, so that's going to start financing our cabin purchases and also getting that bottle from the item shop, so... Yeah, heal potions are on a little bit more on the expensive side. I believe they are, if I remember correctly, 40 base And going up to 51 already is going to be costly when you're trying to just stockpile up every time. But getting that early cabin, the early bottle, extra 5%, he's up to 15% now with the bonus incentives. And he's going to make either a play straight to Elfland or to Provoca. It's really up to the runners here. But with that key, you now have full access in all of Marsh. So personally, for me, I would probably make the play to Provoca. You get your key item, get your level 2 magic, and try and see exactly where that's going to take you. Because, when in doubt, Marsh Cave is always on the table in this week.
Yeah, I like to go out to Provoca, and then on the way back, if I can get a tent or a cabin or something cheap to save with, I'll save on the sea and check Matoyas to see if maybe there's something in those chests, and then I'll save on the sea again before I head to Dwarf's Cave, which, especially with the key, I want to get to Dwarf's Cave before I go to Marsh, because it feels real bad if you check all of Marsh and then find out it's not there and it's in a key-locked location.
It's true. With that early key, Spellzapp is actually making a play here to going to check key-locked Topher, which is a check you don't often see in this flag set. I mean, this early key is definitely giving you some potential for plays here.
Yeah, that's for sure. He does have the Lightning 3, but wow, looks like those sea trolls and sea snakes are pretty beefy, so that's not what you want to see at all. Although level 7 on your mages is pretty nice after one fight.
Yeah, it really gives you a lot more sturdiness because you're just looking to try and get some early health pools to carry you through some of these fights. That just HP value increase just really opens up the game for you.
And he did get a great axe out of it. I mean, I've seen Spellzapp finish races with thieves and a great axe, and that was the best weapon he had, so he can, use that as an endgame weapon if he wants to. I'm sure he's going to look for something better along the way.
Just not getting the luck with that particular enemy set. Those sea snakes are still just whacking away his fighter. But Imps with Scorch, and looks like they've also got Sleep as well, which, Imps are safe with Hold, Sleep, and Scorch. Lots of skill uses here.
And Spellzapp doesn't like what he sees in those chests, so he just resets out. He's going to go down to his ship, and we'll see where he decides to go after this.
Imps also with Bane. Wow. So, I didn't think I saw the Imps even fire a single attack here either, so really, really high spell skill usage from them.
Yeah, looks like, and Sketchy did pick up some cabins this time, so he's probably going to go right into Garland and see what we can do with Garland. Hopefully he can get through pretty quickly and get moving forward, because this could get real frustrating if you have to take 10-15 minutes just to get through Garland.
Well, the good news is this time the Lightning 3 rolls high enough and he gets through, grabs his key and his loot, while Spellzapp is checking out Bicky the Pirate and his gang of thieves there, and picks up the Rod.
Nice. Always good to get 3 go mode items right away, and Rod isn't necessarily everyone's favorite because it opens up going into Earth early, but you know what? At least it's one more place to go and, make some progress.
That is true, but the big question on the mind is, what are we going to find first? Are we going to find the canal, or are we going to find the canoe?
Yeah, and there are quite a few places to check yet with the key that opens up almost 20 chests, if I count right, between Elfland Castle and Dwarf's Cave and Northwest Castle, and then, there's 10 plus 3 extra keylock chests down in Marsh, so there's 30 some chests that you can check in a couple different locations.
Well, let's see here from the efficiency standpoint. Spellzapp could potentially go straight to Matoya because we still have not checked Matoya, but level 2 Fade and Cure 4 and Invis 2, White Magic stacked. That is a heck of a find. In addition to Warp, wow. Your fighter is going to be bringing the White Magic. Your White Mage has gotten the most useful spell in the game with Fade. At a low level 2, that's a lot of charges very early on, so...
Yeah, that's for sure. The only thing I don't like about that Fade is just the fact that it's at the same level as Invis 2 and Cure 4, so you've got 3 really high quality spells all competing for 9 slots at the end of the game.
But we find a loose ruby in Matoya's checks along with the dragon armor. That is the best armor in the game for our promoted fighter, the knight, when we find the tail in the airship, so...
Yeah, and Sketchy has just gone right to Provoca, taking out the pirates, so making some good progress, checking out what's in town there, and, you know, it's good to see moving forward. Had a little bit of trouble on Garland, but at least he's going and making some progress, getting some copper bracelets, so everybody's has a little bit more absorb and defense.
Well, now the play is going to be for Spellzapp. Do you go straight to Dwarves? Do you check Elfland first? I mean, those are all valid options. Which way do you want to go around the world?
Yeah, I mean, I like to, if I have as many cabins as Spellzapp has, I like to try and save actually down at the tip of Canaria. If I haven't seen anything too nasty on sea, and then go and check it. And with a key lock, you're probably going to find something useful, but especially if it's just those 2 chests, you can reset out and save a minute or 30 seconds or so just by not having to sail quite as much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 6 one way, half a dozen the other, because it's like one of those where you have both the Adamant turn-in and the TNT tournament in Dwarves. You have the Herb turn-in in Elfland, and you've got a bunch of chests to check, with Northwest Castle potentially being the crown. So there's just a lot of things that you can find. But finding both the Sun Sword and the Defense Sword in Dwarves, so that is nice. Defense Sword casting a Ruse, which essentially gives you 80 evade. We count in stacks of 1 through 6. That effectively Ruse giving you 2 stacks of evade. It's a thing to remember whenever you're doing Invis 2 charges or Ruse charges. But finding also the Sun Sword, which is the Wodian special in my opinion. The Sun Sword is a perfectly great end tier weapon. I rank it around 3 or 4th best weapon in the game for fighter. So it is really good.
Yeah, and it's viable even on that red mage. You can use it if you don't get a promotion item, so if you find a better sword for your fighter, you can throw that sun sword on the red mage, and at least they can do a little bit of damage if for some reason you just need to get that little extra if they could just swing away.
Alright, Spellzapp making the play to check the armory in Elfland Castle after checking the magic usage. So finding both Ice 2 and Brack, which are some nice spells to pick up. Saber being useful for a thief run if you're potentially going to do it later. But then you also have Exfer and Cure 2 for white magic, so I mean, not terrible. Exfer has gotten the job done on many a day. Being able to strip away some of the resistances from the end tier bosses if you get lucky, so you can make a Bane Sword potentially work for you.
Yeah, and while they're doing that, Sketchy went and saved in Canaria. Looks like he might be going up to check the Temple of Fiends locked chests, and there's always a chance of something decent rolling up there, so this is a good check. Spellzapp did it right away. Oh, and Sketchy didn't get the left side chest either, so now he can go check all 6, which is kind of nice to be able to do all of them at once.
But yeah, the only other thing of note that I saw was Nuke at level 4, so Ninja learnable. That's an important note. But with level 4 being the case, it's going to be less so. You're going to be more reliant on using those fades potentially from your red mage.
I'd be feeling pretty good going into this marsh cave with the magic you've got available, though. What do you think of their Kyokutsu?
You really had 4 clears. So each of your levels, you've had a clear spell. for every single level of either black or white magic. I am extremely happy at this point. The biggest worry that you can have, in my opinion, going into Marsh Cave is you're just extremely limited or have no good clear spells. You kind of want, in my opinion, to have, you know, at least either a mage staff or a Thor hammer or a good clear spell, just because there is so much variance of enemies, and even with a thief, sometimes you just can't get a run. You need to be able to, at least limit the amount of risk that you have with characters going in through Marsh. But it looks like Spellzapp is immediately going to Marsh. I did not see him. I don't think he actually went up to Northwest Castle, so that is still one place that has not been checked yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't see him head up that way either. And Sketchy's just been having trouble in this Temple of Fiends. Creeps threw out some damage poison on him at one point, and that Temple of Fiends just had some nasty enemies roll up in it.
Well, that's not good. If I remember right, creeps also appear on the open world, and if I remember also correctly, they appear in Marsh. So
Yeah, yep, they appear around Elfland and they appear up near Matoya's cave, so there's a decent chance that we'll be seeing them at least one or two more times. I think you probably can find them in the Titan's Tunnel as well, and they like to hang around with some ogres.
So for people wondering what is this party setup, I see a question in chat, no Chibato. This was a drafted setup, so both runners are running with the exact same party comp. Spellzapp won the coin flip and chose a thief first, followed by Sketchymetal choosing the middle two, the fighter and the red mage, and Spellzapp wrapped it up with a white mage. So both runners are running the same party comp. It was agreed upon ahead of time to do a draft mode.
Yeah, and it's actually been pretty decent white magic at low levels, so it'll be interesting to see. I would imagine that white mage will take a nap for a little while, but they're definitely, even 5 or 6 charges at the end of the game can get you quite a ways.
Definitely. And with both exit at level 1, and I believe we had warp at level 2 for black magic, I mean, you can make some of these elite plays, like going in, doing deep dives of, either ice or, also marsh. Potentially, even if you run into issues later on, you can always warp out of a dungeon to save progress or item checks if you don't think you can take a boss like deep in sky. So.
Yeah, and I believe that Life 2 is Red Mage learnable, so if you have two Life 2 casters right away, and eventually you'll have up to 9 charges of Life 2 from each of them, you're pretty safe going anywhere you want with one mage and one melee along the way. Ooh, a mage staff pickup, that's pretty nice. You got an extra sweeper for your fighter to use along the way, and now you get some big packs, especially here in Marsh, you can use that fire too. And a red giant agama tile, that's pretty good if you want some levels here.
Well, red giant is rubbing out the competition at this point, and Spellzapp takes a wipe.
Okay. Yeah, I take back what I said. As soon as I said it, they threw out mute, and that makes it a whole lot harder.
Shadows with cremate as well, so Marsh Cave is Marsh Cave today, everyone. It has one of the highest enemy variances in the game for differences in packs and whatnot, outside of, the end tier dungeons, which would be like Sky and Mirage. So you're gonna see a lot of just different enemy types in Marsh. It's always dangerous. It's one of those where going in low levels, it's a little bit difficult sometimes when you just run into that one enemy pack that just wants to give you a rough time the entire time.
Yeah, at least Spellzapp has a little bit of information going in. He knows how nasty this party is going to be, but he was able to only check one chest on the way down to that, what would normally be an incentivized chest, and so now it makes it a little bit quicker, although all that just to find a heal potion, which, saved him about 50 gold there.
Yeah, but every check that you do not do and you try and save time could always be that key item. I mean, that is going to be the case. Orphaning chests is not advised to a lot of newer runners. Uh, it can be difficult to remember exactly what you've orphaned, but sometimes you just gotta do it for speed.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we saw both of them check Matoya's on their way out of Provoca, but if one decided, you know what, I'm going to try and skip that and save a little bit of time, they'd be going without a ruby, and as soon as you find your canal, that opens up 2 incentive locations, which would be a big loss.
Speaking of canal, bottom key-locked marsh. Canal found. There's our progression out of the inner sea. With a rock goal fight found on the trap tile, I believe, is that the Cobra tile, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I don't know those Marsh tiles as well because no one ever went back to Marsh in the vanilla game, and or at least I know I never did because when I looked in my Nintendo Power, it just said there was like a silver dagger down there, and I already had 2 of those. And if we didn't have enough money, we now have both the dragon and the opal armor before we can wear them, so we can go ahead and sell that opal since it's got less resistances than what the dragon will give us.
That is correct. The dragon resisting fire, ice, and lightning, while the opal only resists lightning. However, they do have the same absorb, so. So Spellzapp has exactly one more chest to check. Top right of Marsh. Before he gets out of here, is there anybody who wants to play Gatekeeper at this point? That is the big question.
Yeah, and I don't know that most of the normal enemies have been too bad. That's a loose power gauntlet right there, so that's 2 loose items that the Spellzapp has found already.
Yeah, actually, that is 3 loose items with the Ruby, the Canal, and the Power Bonk found.
Yeah, so he knows that if he's happy with gear, he doesn't have to check another chest for the rest of the game. I'm sure he'll be checking a few, but we're not going to see Spellzapp checking too many of the out-of-the-way chests, I would imagine.
That is some huge info find for speed. So, like, it's one of those, are you comfortable with a defense sword or a sun sword as your final tier weapon? That's anything else, I would just pick up chests that are, low step count.
And Sketchymetal runs into something nasty in the woods there. Probably was those creeps. That's gonna make getting to Northwest Castle a big pain, with especially starting out with poison damage.
I agree with Silverfire here. Like, you don't even need to find a tail at this point. With defense sword for ruse cast for your fighter, and the higher damage of your sun sword, you are pretty much set. Power bonk for endgame tempering. Like, you just get luxuries at this point. The tail is merely a luxury to give you that dragon armor, and anything else is just fine in my opinion.
Yeah, especially he just found fast at level 5. That was about the only spell that you're really looking for because you have Fade and Nuke already. You have Warp and Exit. Your Life 2 is already in your bag. This is going to be probably a pretty quick seed unless we run into something really nasty.
Oh, now you want me to start doing the nasty moves. You want me to try and gamble exactly what they need to do. And you know what? With that early bottle, I'm going to say we need the fairy to hold something very specific. And personally for me, I kind of want it to be the Oxy Ale. And
Oh, that is dirty.
because that way you have to sail the 7 seas for as long as possible.
And we do see Sketchymetal went up to Northwest Castle right away, checking the chests, already pulled out, there was some gold in there. We already know it wasn't anything progression incentives, but did find a bold tile that he wants to fight a little bit, gain a couple of levels here, and so we'll see. I'm sure he's going down to Marsh, probably just wants a couple levels, especially after seeing the creeps and everything else along the way.
It's just extra HP, it's potentially an extra spell charge if he's got a house, and you know, it's always a play here. Spellzapp has checked our friend Sarda. He had only a tail to give, so we had a long-winded tale with the old man there, but we found out that the Titans are playing dice. So we found our casino today. We've got the craps table inside of the Titan's Trove.
Yeah, we're just flying through, finding these incentives. I'm sure probably heading to Crescent Lake next to see what the sages have. Ooh, looks like either ogres or ogres have crack as well. So that's just nasty, especially you roll them up with some creeps and you're gonna get a lot of damage.
Well, you know, it is part of that. With the ogres, you have to be more concerned for both Volcano and Earth. But with just the regular ogres, I believe that is only Earth at this point with ogres. That is one of the packs there, so.
Yeah, and chat's pointing out that Crescent has to have either Oxiel or Canoe, because those are really the only two spots you can get to without a Canoe or Crescent or Onrak. And so if you get the Oxiel, you know that you gotta head to Sea Shrine and get the Canoe out of the incentivized chest there. Ooh, Saurios, I would definitely take a couple of fights against them.
I mean, that is, once again, we find some really nice trap tiles here with Quad Saria and Rock Goals already. Man, I believe that was Burt Reynolds said earlier. Man, no mode is a big deal, and I kind of wish I had a black belt, but.
Yeah, and it looks like Spellzapp's gonna do a grind here and get some levels. Not have to worry about much else for the rest of this seed. Sketchymetal is going around picking up some armor. He's gotten some gold bracelets already. He's gonna feel pretty good about his armor, but probably a little bit scared of Marsh since he knows he's got to go there. But once he gets down there, he's gonna find the stuff that he needs and be in much the same situation.
But yeah, 3-man grind. That's an efficient grind in my opinion. And just going in level 1, hitting some big experience fights here. You've already gotten 3 loose items. This is some plays.
Looks like Spellzapp might be just saying, hey, I've got the rod, I've got level 15, I might as well just go take out Lich right away, because he's not even going to check these chests, he's just going right down there, take a small stop at the vampire, and he might just go right through.
So the question is, do you think he will check any of the chests on his way through? I mean, there are a couple freebie-ish ones on floor 3. You could potentially go high on floor 2. Or do you think he'll just jet it straight to the Lich?
If any, maybe the trap tile chest on right before the vampire and the earth incentive chest, but the rest of them are a little bit out of the way. Maybe even the one just at the top of this floor if he wants to go up into this room and really feels like he needs stuff, but I could see Spellzapp just skipping it entirely.
I mean, it only costs, I believe it's like 6 or 7 steps to check that chest, so that's one of those I do like to hit, especially since you have a couple free ones. But I don't know. The trap tile, I'm kind of like, I have not checked anything on floor 2. That could be a nasty encounter. I'd probably skip it personally. I am a fan of checking the quote-unquote free chest on floor 3 and potentially hitting the vampire chest. But yeah, it's really the information gained from doing that March play early and also checking Matoya has been the story of this match so far. Finding all 3 loose items right and early means that you can skip a lot of chests and you can fly through the scene as fast as you can without a floater.
Yeah, and they've got so much money at this point too that pretty much nothing is going to be a problem to buy. They've just found 21,000 gold there as well.
Alright, since we're about 30 minutes in, I'm just going to give a quick recap of this quick seed that we've been having. Spellzapp and Sketchymetal have drafted parties with a thief, a fighter, a red mage, and a white mage. Then we went and found a lot of good magic here, life in level 1, Harm 4, Lightning 3, level 1. We got Fade at level 2, Cure 4, and Viz 2. You had a nice clear spell of Ice 2 and potentially Brack with Exfer. And level 4 was Nuke mainly in use. But for our key items, we got the Bottle in Corneria item shop. So we found the early item shop. Then the king had a key, Sarah had the loot, Bicky had the rod. Then we had our runners sailing the 7 seas. They checked Matoya to find the loose ruby. And in Marsh, we found both a loose power bonk in the top right, and in the bottom left key lock, we found the loose canal. So we got out to the outer sea. Spellzapp is now clearing through Earth after he finished Sarda and Titan.
Yeah, it always feels pretty good when you can leave the inner sea knowing you have all of your incentive items, or at least all the loose ones. So all you have to do is check your incentive locations, make sure you have good enough gear, and you can run right to the end of the game.
Oh no. Damage poison comes through from Lich, so he's down to 1 light warrior, but the dry cleaning gets done, and we now have a fresh purple robe to wear.
Well, that's not really how you want to do a one-person fighter grind, but at least you got some 3,000 experience out of that fight.
And we have our first orb lit at 3107, so that is a big, big thing. You know, you can see some nasty seeds in this particular flag set and not see orbs lit for 45 an hour.
Yeah, and a lot of times if you are seeing them lit this early, you've got the airship by now, and so without having an airship, it's really quick. Oh, I don't remember seeing scums at all on Spellzapp's side, but it looks like they have sleep.
Yep, scums, you know, they show up in larger packs in Marsh, but we're gonna have a check here. Looks like he's stocking up on a little bit of maybe houses or heal potions, seeing what he needs. Picking up the rest of his party in Crescent, and probably gonna do an old man check. See if they're breaking out the Kumbaya today. Do they have potentially Oxyale? But we know that it should probably be the canoe, because I believe this is the last key item we can check here.
Sketchy learning what Spellzapp found out a little while ago, that the Agamas and the Red Giants have mute, although I don't know if he saw it or he was going to use a heal helmet. He's going to find out that mute works on items as well.
They had the Oxyale. We're going to do an early C. As it is an option. You have an option doing it, which means we have to potentially double dip the waterfall area.
Yeah, there's a decent chance of that, because C could lead us to Adamant or Herb or TNT, which are still out there, and then we'd have to come back and turn it in, or even the Crown and have to fight Estes in order to get the canoe to get around.
But yep, we're going to be sailing some more, so I'm always excited about that, because you get that canoe, it really opens it up, because that opens up on-rack, it opens up waterfall, it opens up ice. But with getting the Oxio, we're forced in one direction. So we have Sketchymetal going through. He is clearing out the rest of his marsh cave, trying to get through everything here. As Spellzapp is sailing the seven seas, looks like he's got a long encounter. I believe that was potentially encounter number, I think I want to say it's 4, but I'm not exactly sure.
I think 4 sounds about right. He's been kind of running off a few encounters every time he power cycles, so that might be consistent with what he's been doing.
Alright, well, just Zap at level 7 in on-rack, and he's going immediately toward the submarine to Sea Shrine. Mermaids are incentivized, and he's making a beeline directly toward that chest.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how many chests he even checks in the mermaids area. If he just goes up and checks the 3 and decides to get out of there, or else if he's digging around, maybe looking for a ribbon or something somewhere else along the way.
I mean, like, the thing about mermaids is they're all encounter-free steps, so it's one of those where I can see doing it. He's also checking TFC. The man, I love it. The fact that he went and just did TFC there, I love it. That is a chest you do not normally see, so...
Yeah, and he looked like he was debating that middle room as well. I mean, normally on my way down there, I'll try and just book it, maybe hit that room right by the staircase, but then again, Spellzapp is on a whole different level than what I am, so...
Oof. Unfortunately, it looks like those rock goals have Dazzle. And, he is in essentially trance revolution right now, with both of them stunned. Can his red mage get out? He does. He stepped on the trap tile to get the canal. Does he abandon the power bonk at this point?
Oh,
he
looks
cannot.
like he can't. And Spellzapp did find his canoe down in Sea Shrine, so he's probably pretty happy about that. You can, once you get done, I'm sure he's gonna go and back out, especially after finding a white shirt. He's probably gonna save it and then go fight the Kraken, or he might head up right to Waterfall now, get a couple levels, and then go back down there.
So the big thing to note here is it's a solo red mage for Sketchymetal. He's gotta run his way out. He is nearly out of all clear spells, and red mages notoriously do not have that good of a run chance.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough run out, and he may actually be in better shape if that red mage ends up dying, and then he has to come back down because he knows where the canal is. And I don't know, with a solo red mage, I know I've got the one item that I really need out of here. I'm probably not checking that top right chest.
I mean, yeah, he has both warp and exit. I think this one comes down to just, not familiar with Marsh Cave. It is definitely for a new runner. It's one of the last things you typically learn. Sketchymetal, a relatively newcomer to this community, and we welcome anybody who wants to come in, throw their hat in the ring. Gusto to him, he's been running well, in my opinion, just getting some bad RNG tables here, getting some bad encounters not going his way on some run chances, so... Just hopefully you can get out of here with the canal as Spellzapp approaches the robot, finds the 4 P's, Man, another great grind tile.
Yeah, and I mean, even with them having Scorch, at this point, he's got enough levels and enough health that Scorch isn't going to be too bad. You should be able to take him out with a Fade or a Nuke or some sort of AoE casting spell.
Once again, stun locked. This red mage is getting beat down and dies deep inside a marsh. Robot has our floater though.
Oh, shadows have cremates. I would reset out right there and just try to get around that encounter. Looks like that's what Sketchy's gonna do.
And we found our first ribbon inside a waterfall. So that is, end tier. You got that for your white mage, your life 2 caster at this point, and that gives you a lot of safety.
Yeah, you got that white shirt before, you've got a ribbon, wow, his gear is definitely good enough to just run straight through, and you don't have to check any other chests if you don't really want to.
So at this point, we are exactly missing the chime. That is the last key item that we really need. Because we have our loot, we have our key, we have our rod, we have our oxyale, and we have our cube. So it's the search for the chime at this point. Is it going to be in ordeals? Or is it going to be in Gaia? That is the question.
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. I think you got your floater, go turn that in, and you could make a case to either go to ordeals right away and see what's there, or get the floater and fly down to Gaia. You don't lose a ton of time by doing either unless ordeals is nasty.
So Sketchymetal making a exact beeline to the canal chest again. Does he know that if you hug the bottom, you avoid this trap tile here? That is the question.
Looks like he knows about the door one, but he doesn't know about the bottom of the chest. So it's sketchy if you're watching this back. If you go up and around the tile like you did, and then you can go down to the bottom side of that chest and completely avoid this fight. And Sketchy exits out. He says, I've got my canal and I'm just going to head out because Marsh is not a place I want to hang out and check anything else in.
Marsh is not nice. That seems to be consistent. But with exit, definitely getting you out nice and safe. It also showed knowledge there too from Sketchymetal earlier. He's looking to try and immediately warp out earlier, but had to use all his fade charge to get down there. So he is aware about the time saves that he can potentially use by using these movement tech, and it's really, really impressive to see from somebody who's been running this for about 2 months. I really like to see this, and it shows great improvement and potential in the future.
Yeah, and that loose power gauntlet being there isn't going to hurt him too much. He might be checking more chests than he would need to, but, at least it's not something like the chime or the oxyale that's over on the other side of that room there.
Once you see an excellent display on how to quickly do heal potions from Spellzapp. He got his heal potions at the bottom left and was just going through and rapidly healing up his entire party. It took him 20 seconds there to take him from less than 100 to full on everyone. And that takes a lot of practice and a lot of execution. It's something I recommend to any player to practice at.
Yeah, I know that's been one thing over the last couple months, that it's one of those little things that can gain you so much time and you don't even think about it until you see someone who's really good at menuing and can just fly through all the button presses.
But we're getting into another Fiend fight very soon from Spellzapp's side. Darren, why don't you take it away on this one?
Alrighty, so walking right up, he's going to double check his party, make sure everything is where it needs to be, which is a good call. And oh, he's even moving his white mage up to the top, make sure it's a little bit of safety for that fighter. Throwing out Invis 2, looks like he was looking to see if the white shirt was on the white mage. And so, Kraken with 336 on the white mage, going down right away. Trying the Brack, didn't work, but he does throw up some defense swords. So he's going to get some evade on his fighter, but Kraken coming back with 173 damage, throwing out the fast, so he should be able to get some damage out pretty quick with that fighter. Kraken goes and hits the red mage, 305. That would have taken out the fighter. Luckily, he gets the fighter cured up. He's going to start swinging away with that sun sword. 225 damage. The Brack goes out, not effective. 240 damage to the red mage. Red mage goes down. So this fighter is going to be trying to take out 2 fiends today. 139 damage on Kraken. Kraken misses. Defense is doing its work. 118 damage. Kraken missing again. Good job using all those defense stacks. That's why you get the defense sword and why it's so important to find. Just hitting 113, 6 hits. If Kraken misses, he might be in a loop right here. 113, Kraken misses. 113, Kraken misses. Looks like he's got a nice little loop going, and that's pretty rare to see. So now, hopefully, if the loop keeps going, he's going to just keep doing 113 until Kraken goes down. I tell you what, that is a thing of beauty. I don't know if I've seen many damage loops like this, but it just makes it so much safer. That Kraken had quite a bit of health as well, because that loop went for quite a while.
That, again, impressive use of your inputs there. Maintaining that RNG loop as cleanly as you can, that is very, very nice.
Yeah, and Crabcakes is even saying in chat that she almost never sees loops on the first fiends. I don't feel too bad if I don't see loops. Crabcakes has played this game a whole lot more than I have.
Man, though, that is a exquisite display. Putting the fighter in the 3rd slot, getting the RNG loop, and I believe once I did enough math, the Kraken had around 1,400 hit points. So a decent chunk of health on that thing.
Yeah, that could be really scary, especially with just having his fighter up. Spellzapp has now taken down 2 fiends with just that fighter, and it's crazy, especially with 1,400 health on that Kraken.
So, right now we have 3 plays. We are looking for Chime for Go mode. That is what we are needing. Now, there is the Ice Cave on the play, there is Ordeals on the play, and there is also turning in that bottle, which could all be a play. The question is, what's going to lead us there?
Yeah, I think what we'll see Spellzapp do, at least first off, is get the floater and fly just straight south, turn that bottle in. It's a free check, you don't have to worry about fighting anything on the way. And if you find your last item, you can either keep going or you can skip over Ordeals and Ice Cave potentially. And Sketchy has gone up. He went up to Titans, picked up the Ruby, and he decided to skip over Earth Cave and just go right over to Crescent, which is, I think, a lot of people's preference. Most people aren't going right into Earth Cave at semi-low levels because you can get some pretty bad enemies throughout there.
I also like this play, just following your routes, getting as many of the key items that you can, trying to get your EXP stacking as best as you can, so whenever you do actually take fights, they're going to be even more valuable. It's just good mechanics that I'm seeing here.
Yeah, and even the timing that he's had, I mean, if you're going up against a lot of runners other than a Spellzapps or Crabcakes or, some of the very top tier runners, you're making pretty decent time here. I mean, going up against Spellzapps or Crabcakes or, Shadow Wish or several of the different runners that are out there, I never would feel comfortable. But, even 48 minutes to go and get over to Crescent Lake, you've done a lot of Inner Sea, you've got a lot of stuff checked out. He's making pretty decent time.
Well, let's see if he continues to follow the breadcrumbs. He's gotten his Oxy Ale from the old men. He now has Onrak unlocked to go to the Sea Shrine. Spellzapp quickly going to turn in his tail at Bahamut. And it looks like we are going to go from Sketchymetal sites, continuing to sail east. He's also using the lovely palette swap there on the enemies. As you can see, different colorations from your normal Kizokus.
Yep, Spellzapp goes, turns in that tail, and does a really great move, something that I've forgotten to do before, of going and moving your armor around, getting everybody with the best gear you can right away before you even step out the door.
Looks like Sketchymetal is on his way. He is going to go toward Earth Cave at this point, so.
Spellzapp's heading over to Ordeals, probably just using some proximity routing of, you know what, Ordeals or Ice, it's kind of a horse apiece, but I'm right here, I might as well just go right over instead of spending some time traveling when I, have a 50-50 shot either way.
It's true. I mean, earliest warp definitely makes both plays viable. You tend to check less chests in Ice, but you still have to make it to that floor. Question is how nasty the teleporters are going to be for Ordeals. Determines that, but being able to quickly warp back anytime you see a loop that you don't want to take is super nice, especially in the 4 teleporter room.
Oh, I think I saw some Sehags in Earth Cave on Sketchymetal's side as he was going down to check some of the Hall of Fiend or Hall of Giants trap tiles there.
Okay, so for people learning this game, the one that Spellzapp just skipped is a linked chest. You do not have to check that room. You can pick up that same chest later on when you're clearing out the rest of Ordeals. It's something I recommend to any new player who's trying to learn this game.
I wish you would
through cleanly and goes straight into the staircase.
Yeah, I wish you would have told me that about a month or two ago, Kayatsuki. Because I have been checking that chest for a long time and then watching races and going, well, why does no one check that chest? And why does my, bottom chests here always have an empty one in it until it finally clicked in? And I went, oh, okay, there's linked chests there.
Well, with a cry and find in Ordeals, is that going to be a dud, or is that going to lead our way to the Chime? That is the question.
Yeah, and Chime could be buried behind a few layers of fetch quests, because there's quite a few of those fetch items sitting out there still.
It is the question, because we haven't done any fetch outside of the bottle, so... I mean, we still have the herb, we have the crystal, we have the TNT to potentially turn in, the adamant, the slab. I mean, we could see a nasty fetch quest chain leading to a slab that requires you to all the way down to Lupa Lupa Land to get the Chime in its original location.
And Sketchy has found these Sarias and decided, that, much like Spellzapp, that, hey, you know what, I'm going to get a couple levels here, going to get some safety, and get some nice experience and gold off from one of the nicer enemies in the game so far from what we've seen. Looks like Spellzapp's going to continue with his proximity routing and go right up to Volcano. He says, you know what, that's on the way to any incentivized items that I could find here, whether it's the crown or the ice cave, so I might as well just go and take out Carry right away and check out Armory and find out, what sort of goods I can find here.
Well, he found the make your own ribbon at this point with the dragon armor and the Aegis shield on his knight, so. But with Gasties on the trap tile, that is your Grey Worm, if I remember right.
Yep, yeah, that would be the Grey Worm tile, and looks like those Gasties weren't too tough to beat either, so there's quite a few nice enemies on these side B spike tiles that you can find and you can get some decent experience off from if they don't have too many skills or spells.
He also found the anti-podal armor with finding both either a combination of flame/ice, armor/shield. Makes a nice combination for your ninjas when you can find opposing elements, because it gives you a lot of resistances if you're still short on ribbons using a ninja party. That is your best armor for them.
And it looks like he's going to get a couple more levels here on these Gasties. Just, build up the experience real quick before you have to go too much further. You've got a solid enemy to fight, and you might as well get the levels while you can.
Not to mention with Exit, you've got you can use all of your spell charges, just hop out quickly, use up a house, and then just go straight for carry at this point.
Sketchymetal fought a couple Sarias, and he's not going to go out and save, so. Oh, maybe he did go out and save. I might have just missed it, because he does have full magic charges, so that's a good thing to see. Mummy's unrunnable. That's always a little scary, because you're going to see mummies throughout the rest of the game. You got mummies in Waterfall, you got some mummies in the Ice Cave, so it's never nice to see enemies unrunnable who you're going to be running into in quite a few different places. Spellzapp says, hey, I've got enough levels, let's just go ahead and run our way through the volcano and see what Carrie's going to do to us. And, hopefully he can keep more than one person up for the Fiend fight, but as they say, you only need one to finish the game, so anything extra is just a bonus. And you can see Spellzapp using those lava tiles. Anytime that you're on a lava tile, you take 1 damage per step, but you also don't get any encounters while you're on the lava tiles, so it's a little bit safer. Battles take a lot of time and can potentially kill you, where 1 damage is something you can heal up pretty quickly from.
As we have Spellzapp going into the carry fight very shortly. Now, that 1 damage tiles make Volcano one of the fastest dungeons you can complete. The only one thing that I think would be typically faster than a Go Mode Volcano would be a Go Mode C. That is pretty much the only thing that can be faster than Volcano. As we have the Spellzapp going in, fighting the Merilith herself, Carrie. Going in, coming in with a fade, a fast, and a swing, going in with full offensive capabilities from their group. Getting 4 hits for 165, a fade for 246, and a fast coming up, doing about 400 damage to Carrie in the first turn. Again, full damage with fade, and fight. 296, Carrie is dead, and Spellzapp is about to get their third ribbon, but they get trolled. Their third orb getting trolled right on the steps there. As an important note, this does happen. Remember, if you have anything in danger, you can still get an encounter on your way from the fiend fight to the actual teleporter pad. And if you die before hitting the teleporter pad, you do not get the orb.
Yeah, or if you accidentally decide that you want to get out real quick and use your exit, then you can do that to yourself as well, and then you have to walk all the way back in just to get that orb lit. And on Sketchymetal's side, Earthcave has quite the number of good swords. He's found Excalibur and Katana so far on his way through. So not getting the power gauntlet means he's going to check a lot more chests, but he's also going to find some better swords, where Spellzapp, unless something's in one of these greed chests, I don't see him going out of his way to try and find anything else through the rest of the game. He's got decent armor. He's got a sun sword, which you can take all the way to the end if you want to.
I mean, you've got a power bonk here, and with enough temper charges, anything will work, even barehanded.
Yeah, and you've got fast. I think the fast was a level 5, so the ninja won't be able to learn it, but you've got fast on that red mage. You've got a ninja that you can bring up, and you even have some pretty decent armor for that ninja, so he might be able to take 2 hits from a fiend at the end if you want him to, and gives you a little bit more safety.
Personally, I think Spellzapp is just going to run the 3-man the rest of the way here. I doubt he'll even pick up the ninja outside of just maybe for like a Kraken to Chaos situation where he can just res the ninja and just put him in the first slot just to soak a hit from them. As we have Lufaland check, and it's Lupa-Lupa'd. He forgot that he does not have the slab translated. In fact, he doesn't even have it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was thinking for a second that maybe he just went and picked it up, but... Oh, Astos had the slab, so he did get the slab. He just forgot to swing over to Melmond and turn it in right away.
A little bit of frustration working out with Dr. Un there, forgetting and getting looped. It does happen to all of us. It's one that happens. You forget about Picky some days. Some days you forget to translate the slab. It does happen. It happens to the best of us. Do not let that tilt you guys. Although personally, my favorite NPC for working out my tilt is definitely the Hooray Dwarf. Nothing puts me in a better mood.
Yeah, it's always nice to see the Hooray Dwarf. You know, you can use him to celebrate, or you can use him when you're really frustrated. So, you know, it's a good way to get any emotions out that you've had throughout.
Alright, and the fetch quest chain continues.
Speaking of the Hooray Dwarf, we might be seeing him in just a little bit here.
Oh, you know I want to see that, but you know what I want to see even more? Double dipping the dwarf cave. You gotta have that element go to somewhere else. I don't know, crystal, herb?
You're just evil. That's really mean to to wish on someone.
By the way, guys, we got some steak and wings tonight with a Tyro and a Wyvern showing up. Delicious, delicious steak and wings. Brought to us by Spellzapp.
Sketchy's working his way through Ice Cave still. On that last room, finds the trap tile, which this room is one of the weirdest for trap tiles for those chests, because that bottom left chest, the trap tile is on the right side of it, and then the other 2 chests, the trap tile is on the bottom of it. So if you go right when you walk in, if you walk left and then up to the chest from the bottom, you'll avoid it, and then you go back down and then walk between the two chests and pick them up from the side. You can avoid all of those fights if you want to.
Well, we found lazy doors today with the TNT, but first things first, we had to make a note there. Sketchymetal finding an additional ribbon in bottom of Earth 4, but also talking to everyone's favorite NPC, the Hooray Dwarf.
And all of that to find an opal bracelet, which is nice to have, but not what he was looking for.
So, to ice we go.
And we're still missing the crystal and the herb, so there's a pretty good... Actually, I'm pretty sure that this should be a fetch quest item, and we're gonna see a little bit more flying around before we can get that chime.
It's gonna be the full fetch quest chain, so he's gonna either find herb or crystal here, and it's gonna lead to the other one, unfortunately, because we have cleared out all the other incentive locations.
Sketchymetal pulls up on Lich here, throwing out some nukes, throwing out some fades. That thief was hitting him with whatever sword that he has, not doing a lot of damage, but the fighter goes and finishes him off. Lich is not much more than a speed bump for Sketchymetal, and he's going to just keep going. First orb lit, just over an hour. Pretty good timing to get through all of that. Spellzapp ran right down to that chest and ice. I'm pretty sure he used the warp trick. I didn't see it in time. He went through far quicker than I could even look over from that Lich fight, and finds the crystal, flies over to Matoya, finds the herb. So he's going to go down, wake up the prince, and the prince will give him a chime.
And with that final bit there, he's stopping by and grabbing some magic, since he has not picked them up for his fighter yet. On his way down, good use there, getting his Fade, his Cure 4, and his Invis 2. His fighter is now fully geared up with some white magic. And he's going to go on his way to the Elf Prince to grab his chime. And with that music that he's picking up, he, at the 1 hour and 6 minute mark, will be our first runner in this seed to be in go mode.
Yeah, it's nice to be on a jet seed, and it's, Sketchymetal, I think, has an idea of what this seed is going to give him. It's going to be pretty straightforward as he's going through, and, Spellzapp just showing what you can do when you have the experience and you have the game knowledge, and you can just fly right through just about any seed. But when it gives you a nice, pretty solid progression, you can really fly on these flags.
Did I just see Blue Stake? I swear I saw Blue Stake for a half second. And I'm a little sad because Blue Stake, aka the T-Rex, is a rare encounter in the desert here, so... And it's worth a lot of EXP. In fact, there it was again.
Yeah, that is one of those encounter 8s, which for a long time wasn't in the randomizer. Oh, he does find one for you to take out, so at least we'll see one Blue Stake go down and get some experience from it, but... Encounter 8s for a long time weren't in. That's been fixed, and so now you get more dragons and you get more Blue Stakes. Crabcakes is calling for a T-Rex grind, so that would definitely be an interesting play. I think Spellzapp's probably pretty comfortable with his levels right now. Anything that he really wants, he's going to find up in the floating castle, and he can get his way up to Temple of Fiends and take out Chaos. Sketchy is making his way down, just got down to Mermaid's Floor, gonna go find what treasure's down here, and soon gonna be finding his canoe up in that incentivized location.
Spellzapp doing the quick check here on Sky 3, getting the 4 freest chests there. It's a nice quick chest if you're gonna do trying to find additional ribbons or a little bit of extra end gear swords. It doesn't cost that much time, not many encounter steps. It's a good play to make, and wasn't much there today, but it's 4 chests that's very easily checked on your way through.
Yeah, that's for sure. Especially, you know what? He's got a sun sword. He knows he's got a good enough sword to finish, but you'd be kicking yourself if those 4 chests had something like an Excalibur or the Mass Mune where you could just make it even that much easier.
Not to mention, floor 3 of Sky is jam-packed full of good EXP enemies. Typically, especially with this amount of power level in the group, you can fairly easily clear them out with 3 Fade charges and just get in another level or 2. But we are rapidly approaching. We're in the maze right now. Next floor is the Bridge of Destiny. Does anybody here want to see a robot chicken? Because if you do, I love to see some hype in the chat for that.
Sketchymetal doing the same as Spellzapp there. Came out of finding the canoe and he heads right up to the waterfall, see what's in there, and probably gonna head back down and then finish off Kraken after he's done here.
Hey, there he is, the big bad himself. We have a robot chicken. The war mech has been spotted and is swinging in.
Yeah, and Spellzapp's gonna go right in and try and take out the war mech, get quite a bit of experience. Any levels that he wants, he's probably gonna find right after this fight.
Highest yield enemy for experience in the game. So we have a robot. Robot has been found. With 298 and a nuke going for 300, Robot has taken about 600 damage. But Robot nukes back. Oh boy. It's a spicy war mech tonight, baby.
Yeah.
We have Tier 4 coming in, Zap coming out, and we have lost the Red Mage. 3 hits for 15 damage. 15 damage, so he's got some decent absorb. The crit got through the first time, and he gets out. Wow. Scary, scary war mech.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's out of life 2 charges on that white mage. He might not have any life magic on that white wizard, so he's just going to be going with the 2 people right now.
Yeah, the issue is life 1 is exit harm 4, so he should have a life 2 charge potentially. He may be just skipping it at this point, but that's a risky play in my opinion.
Yeah, especially, I mean, and didn't know it at the time, but walking right into an unrunnable air fight is never something that you want to see.
It's not been a breeze so far, as they're just taking a lot of turns here. It's blowing in a bad direction. He's gonna have to use some more spell charges to just get through, because they are breaking some decent wind here with some health. It's swirling up to be quite a long encounter.
Saving his magic too, throwing out Mage Staff, throwing out Zeus Gauntlet.
They are packing some health at this point, because I believe that they're 700-ish HP. Ugh, that if that's also unrunnable in Topher, that would be an issue, because those things can show up in packs of 6.
Sketchymetal finds out that he's got his floater there, finds his second ribbon, and finds a pack of mummies, so he's gonna be feeling pretty good. Probably gonna check the rest of these chests, at least I hope so, because I believe White Shirt was up there too, and then he's gonna get out of the waterfall and be in a whole lot better place gear-wise, and know that he's gonna be able to fly around the world pretty soon.
I kind of feel for Spellzapp at this point, because with those airs being so healthy, I'd be kind of winded with how many times they've been showing up, so...
Oh, and the red hydras are unrunnable too, so here's one more enemy that you have to defeat and throw a couple magic charges into before you can go and fight your last fiend.
But luckily they're not nearly as healthy. But Spellzapp is going into the Tiamat fight. Take it away.
Alright, yeah, looks like he's gonna just heal up. Always a good choice to use up as many heal potions as you can. Go in full strength. Using a defense, waiting on that white wizard. Doesn't have much he wants to do with him. Throws out a brack. It's about a 25% chance to hit, so not a bad choice at all. The Tiamat decides to put Deng to sleep, so your fighter's gonna be taking a nap, but it doesn't matter because Danny goes, throws out a brack, and Tiamat broken into pieces. Sketchy decided not to take on Kraken right away. He's gonna go do the double dip on Onrak Continent. Wants to get his floater, and we'll see where he goes from there. Danny's doing double duty tonight. She's throwing out bracks and she's tracking the race, so paying attention to both runners and taking out fiends. You know, that's a pretty tough job, but if anyone's going to be doing it, it's going to be Danny 3883, keeping us on track, helping to put all these race crews together. She does a wonderful job for the community. If you're interested in helping with any of the broadcasts, running the randomizer, please feel free to check out the Discord and follow our runners, follow the commentators. You know what? Follow the tracker. She does a great job. She's in the tournament as well and is a wonderful runner. She's going to tell you she's not that great. She could kick my butt any day in a race. So, I'm going to say she's really good because it makes me feel better about how well I play.
The point is to have fun, everyone. It doesn't really matter how much your skill level is. At the end of the day, it's a game. If you're not having fun with the game, don't play it. But we have Spellzapp rapidly going in. At this point, he will be the first runner to enter Topher at the approximately the 1 hour and probably 16-minute mark. So Spellzapp is rapidly making through Topher. Sketchymetal quickly doing the class change at Bahamut. We're working our way through to these final stages at this point.
Does decide to check the validation chest just in case. He finds a wooden staff. That's not going to do a whole lot of damage, but, it's one more weapon that he can throw on his people.
Yes, beware the mighty steak. That would be an interesting challenge, though. Beating Chaos with only the wooden stick. That is definitely something I would not want to do, but Spellzapp already on the earth floor, finding Sarias and some rock goals, so...
If it weren't the spring tournament, I could see Spellzapp taking that challenge and going, you know what, I bet you I could beat Chaos with a wooden staff, but spring tournament's a little bit of a different deal. He's probably going to be a little bit more serious here.
These Gurmedusas are weak to fire, using the Mage Staff for some additional damage, and using some other clear spells to try and get through. Now, the second round through, he knows that Mage Staff will clean them up, and gets a 6-pack done, that unrunnable is done, and Dan has a little bit more health to his name now.
Quite a few encounters on this earth floor. That's never something you necessarily want to see, but earth out of the 4 is probably where I'd rather see the enemies. They can hit hard, but a lot of times fire floor, water floor, you're going to get larger packs with a bunch of different enemies instead of just one enemy in the pack.
Expecting Lich, getting healed up, going to fight, harm 4, lightning 3. And giving the final nuke. But Lich just wanted to get dry cleaned today, so one nuke and he's done. Going into the Tiamat fight, while Sketchymetal runs toward Ordeals. Took the long way to get to Ordeals.
Yeah, if you go over, you can park over kind of by the desert, just off to the right of that desert, and there's a little bit of prairie land that you can park on, and it is a little bit shorter in order to get there.
Spellzapp getting prepped up and ready to take the carry fight. Is he going to move anybody around at this point? That is the question. Decides to give his ninja the white shirt and leaves the fighter in the first row. Using the white shirt on the ninja, some Invis 2 cast on the white mage, and a fast on the fighter. White shirts go into effect. It's a good turn order. Get the swing for 21 damage. He's gonna need some temper charges at this point going into that fighter, so he's gonna start power bonking up. Does he switch tactics and go straight for fades, nukes? That is a question. Gets a nice crit out of his Vorpal from his red mage and gets 60 damage in. A swing from that fighter, 394. Carry has nuclear. Everyone takes chip damage except for the ninja. The ninja goes down, so now he's going to try and start topping people off. The question is, who do you top off first? Doing a little bit split damage, but gets carried down with the next swing from the fighter for 198.
Yeah, and it was nice to have that fighter go first, because he was able to save some spell charges in case Kraken or Tia or Chaos are nasty in fights, and then you don't have to use them here. You can save them for further on down the road.
Silverfire with a question in chat. I'm surprised he's not running Vorpal on the fighter, waiting to swap it over later. Yeah, that is a good question. You lose 8 base damage from switching to the Vorpal, but you get a lot of crit, and that could be the big thing in my opinion. Not only that, it is that crit definitely would have made a difference there, being able to cut through half the absorb of that tanky carry.
Yeah, especially with just having a Sun Sword. That is a good point. You know, if you have Excalibur or Massme and something that has quite a bit more attack power, it's a little bit of a tougher choice, but just a Sun Sword, you know, while it's a really good sword, it's still not very top tier.
Nuking in, 110 damage. The Invis charges continue to go out. He should be fully evaded up at this point at the end of this round. Actually, he's got 5 stacks, not 6, because he power bombed instead. But chip damage coming in from Kraken. Just going to try and get powered up and then start swinging in. So Fade charges, Nuclear Kraken. We have Octopolypse now. Nuclear from Kraken. We have 1 knee on both mages at this point. How much more time do you want to take? You're going to have to make an adjustment here. Using Cure 4 on the White Wizard and double Nuclear Kraken. It's fighter, A and prey at this point. Can he get it done?
Yeah, it's going to be real rough. I mean, at least you've got the information, but you know you're going to, if you do take a wipe here, you're going to have to go straight up damage against this Kraken to try and avoid those 2 nuclears in the future.
I think he's going to make the flip at this point, but he's got to get through his fight. Another 8 hits for 316 damage, and a big 8 hit 512. So he gets down. Octopolypse now, double Nuclear Kraken. He is down to just a fighter at this point. He probably is going to make some switches at this point. I would probably move up that ribbon and make sure that you are equipped probably with that Vorpal at this point. But he's going in with more Sunsword.
Yeah, and we did see while Spellzapp's been going through this crack, and Sketchymetal did check that top right chest in Ordeals, which we mentioned earlier, is linked. And so you can avoid that trap tile if you're not looking for fights at that point.
Again, defense, power bonk, he's got a lot of options for buffing on his knight, in addition to Cure 4 at level 2. So he's only got a couple more charges at this point.
Yeah, and you've
got
seen
2
Nuclear
left.
come out already, so you know that's not going to be in this spell pool anymore.
Again, Tiamat just going with the elemental spells, doesn't hit that hard. 4 hits for 654, so a little bit of evade there, but another swing in. Tiamat is dead. Gotta make it through the rest of this floor and then get to Chaos. That is the thing. Healing up before moving. Once again, veteran play there. Gets the Rainbow Poogle special here. We got with Vamps and Vamps. That is not good, because those things can hit very, very hard. Decides to take the defensive approach. Glance comes through, misses on that fighter. Another defense sword. He's just getting some evade up before he decides to make a play here. Defense, defense, run. Very defensive opinion. Way to make the play there. Stare comes through, does a little bit more damage, but does not knock down that fighter. The fighter gets away. 4-pack of purple worms. Again, using the same tactic, getting the defense up. Because if you fail your runs, they can whack you instantly in one turn.
Yeah, and you see it working right there with 4 misses right away, and now he might be looking to take this fight. He's doing some power gauntlets, gonna power up his fighter, and it looks like he's gonna swing away.
Yeah, I like this. The 4-pack of worms, they seem to be slap happy, and you've got the evade charges at this point. This is a lot of potential EXP that you can just pile onto that fighter. Make sure that you get this kill. This is really, really good. Down to 1. 1 more swing should do it. Terminated. That's a 4-pack of worms. That is 36,000 experience. And he's going to fully heal up right before the Chaos fight, as Sketchymetal is grabbing his fairy really quick. But here we go. Chaos. 1v1. Cure 4 is in the pool. That is important to note. Chaos has Cure 4, and it's at the top of the list. 2 defenses in. He's got 4 out of 6. Going for the third. He is now fully evaded up. Lightning 3 comes in. So that's the second spell in the list for Chaos. Power bonk. Swing. Misses. Another power bonk. And here we go. A Lightning 2 again. He's going to go with a third power bonk. I expect him to start swinging at this point, but he gets stopped. Stun locked. Gets out of it immediately. Wow. First turn break stun. That is huge. Swings in. 4 hits for 216 damage. He's just going to keep swinging at this point. Going in for another 458. Bang comes through. That's another spell out of the list. He's going to get around to that Cure 4 again. But does Chaos have anything dangerous in the pool? No, he does not, as 4 hits, 248 kills him. Spellzapp is the first person to complete the seed at 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 23 seconds.
Wow, yeah, that's a master class right there in how to adjust as you're going through Temple of Fiends and what to do when you lose multiple characters pretty early on. I mean, going through Tiamat with just one fighter, that's a really good way of showing what you can do with just one person.
GG's to Spellzapp, as Sketchymetal is making his way through the ice cave at this point. As we're joined in the booth momentarily by Spellzapp.
Hey, Q.
Welcome in, Spellzapp. So, what were you thinking at the end there? You know, how did that feel for you?
I think I almost imploded on myself when he stabbed me through a ribbon. But then, I got the recovery right then, so that was a clincher there for sure.
Well, he got the 3 out of 256, so you responded back with the 25%. So all's right?
That's right. It's all balanced out. So that was an interesting seed.
Yeah, we were saying most jet seeds you have a floater, within 10, 15 minutes, but you were, flying through, going really quick, and you still didn't find your floater until what, almost 30, 40 minutes in, if not a little bit later.
Yeah, I probably could have gotten it a little bit sooner if I had gone and followed like a turn-ins, but I was on go mode, so my thought was, okay, let's just knock out Earth because we're right here and we can get some couple levels. And if it's small, slim chance that it ends up floaterless, it's already out of the way, so we don't have to sail back.
What were you thinking in Marsh there when you went through and you checked? You'd found your loose items by that point, and you found your canal. So you were just, like you say, you were in go mode and ready to go. And we saw the difference. Sketchymetal skipped that top right chest and hasn't found the power gauntlet, so he doesn't know that he doesn't have a loose item out there anymore.
Yeah, I kind of paused for a second because I was like, oh, cool, a power gauntlet. And then, it ticked again, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm in go mode. Or rather, I'm in no loose mode. Because I don't think there's any weird starter specials anymore. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and greed chest stuff and see what we can do.
Yeah, and I was just saying that's kind of a masterclass, your Temple of Fiends run there, as you were getting towards the end and losing characters along the way. It's a good way to show the adjustments you can make. That worm fight, I probably would have just run away, but you were showing that things you can do. You use your defense sword, get your defense stacks up, and you got probably what, 2 or 3 levels on that fighter just from that one fight alone, right before taking on Chaos.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get one more, then we would have had the next hit. But maybe I wouldn't. If I did it back again, I probably wouldn't have taken the fight. I probably would have still defensed and ran just to make sure we were okay. But you really don't want to lose out on those fights when you just have the one character. So I think using the defense sword there is a good plan.
Yeah, and I think I'd seen one of them hit earlier before they started missing, and it was like 58 damage. So if they're missing most of the time, and even if they get a crit, it's probably not going to be too bad. So you probably could have made it through at least one crit if they had done it.
And I was trying to save my Cure 4 charges too, but those were in my back pocket as well.
Yeah, that's right, because there was some pretty decent magic on that seed, and so you guys were able to blow through pretty nicely with having nukes and fades and a little bit of everything that you could want pretty early on.
Oh yeah, the magic was phenomenal. Like I saw that originally, I was going to try and maybe do a thief seed, but it turned out to be really heavily in the favor of the knight with the magic that was available.
But yeah, I mean, Sketchymetal has just gone through. He's gone and checked another nice quality of life here. The Leaf and Hospitality. He's grabbed his item from Lufa, and it's a little disappointing.
But did he translate the slab?
He did translate the slab. He did it
okay,
first.
See, then he's a better player than I am.
Yeah, and he's really been doing pretty good job, doing progression and finding his way through. He's done a lot more safety strats and getting levels a little bit earlier, going back, got some gold bracelets pretty quick once he had enough money. So really, from a player who's 2 months into playing the randomizer, doing a great job of getting a lot of the little mechanics and taking care of making sure that he's not going to take as few wipes as he can.
But I don't know if he knows this, if knew he was in go mode earlier, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Doing some additional checks here. I don't know if he's looking for something potentially. Maybe he is looking for that power gauntlet. That's the only thing I can think of that he's trying to find still. Decides not to go straight for Sky and instead does Volcano. So, I mean, early magic, you basically had the gambit there between damage clearing spells, between safety with life 2 and cure 4, and even utility like warp and exit. So this was definitely a seed for those classes there. Do you think you would make any sort of party changes if you knew about some of this stuff ahead of time?
No, actually, because I think with life only being available for white mages, and then the early fade, that's about as good as you can get. I mean, the black, maybe a black mage, so you can get that temper, which was probably out there somewhere. And there was, I guess, there was still. No, I did check Gaia, so it would have been black mage only, I believe. Maybe an 8 or something.
And it looks like Sketchymetal is feeling pretty good about what his gear he has. He's went right past armor. He didn't even check any chests on that floor, and he's just going to keep going, healing up his party a little bit, but he's going to be down to Kraken pretty quick if he doesn't stop to check too many chests on this floor.
He's making his way straight to carry there. He's ignoring every single chest on his way, go moding his way through Volcano. He's doing pretty good on his inputs too. I mean, again, there's minor optimizations you can make, but he's trying to use as many of these tiles as he can. Gonna go and check the red D chest here.
So, and it looks like we're going to be going ahead and we're going to raid over to Sketchymetal's channel so we can all go and cheer him on right away. Since Spellzapp has already won this race, but we're going to, give him a lot of love, a lot of, cheering him on and just, encourage him to keep on going. It looks like he's going to keep fighting this out, which is an awesome thing to do. Learn a little bit along the way, and so good for him to keep going. Some people would just forfeit right out, but we're going to go right over and raid into Sketchymetal's channel.
So with that, any final words, Spellzapp, before we get out of here?
No, I look forward to see what Sketchymetal can do, and if wish him well in the tournament. And thanks everybody for coming out and watching, and thanks for comms and tracking. Restream, of course, too.
All right, Darren, any final words?
No, it's been a lot of action so far. There's going to be a lot of races coming up, so a lot of Final Fantasy Randomizer action coming up. Well done, Spellzapp. You showed us why you got top 4 last year, and I think you're going to be a force to reckon with this year as well. So well done on your part.
Thank you.